The stars were calm that morning. The Great War was finally over. After 10 long years of blood and fire, the last enemy fleet had fallen. Humanity stood victorious and broken but proud. From Earth to the far colonies, people cheered. Soldiers returned home. The galaxy watched in silence. They expected the Galactic Council to honor the humans, to thank them for saving half the known worlds from the Zarth Empire. But what came next was not praise. It was judgment. Across the stars, every human screen turned black. Then a voice, deep, calm, and cold, spoke through every channel. This message is for the species known as humanity. From this day forward, you are forbidden from ever going to war again. The celebration stopped. Streets went silent. People looked at the sky, confused. At first, many thought it was a joke, a transmission error. But the voice continued. All military vessels will be disarmed. All weapons of mass power will be locked by Council code. Any act of war by humans will be seen as a threat to galactic life itself. Then, one by one, human warships began to shut down. Power gone. Engines dead. Admirals shouted orders, but nothing worked. The fleets drifted helplessly in space. The Great Earth Defense Network, the pride of humanity, was silent in less than an hour. In the command bridge of the flagship Sol's Wrath, Admiral Ryan Holt stood in shock. He had seen death. He had seen planets burn. But he had never seen something like this, a total surrender forced by the press of a button. His officers looked to him for answers. "Admiral, what do we do?" One asked. He said nothing. His voice was gone. On the main screen, the Council's symbol glowed, a ring of stars around a single eye. A new message appeared. Humanity's actions in the recent war have proven them too dangerous to be free in conflict. The Council has decided unanimously, never again shall humans go to war. News spread faster than light. Across the colonies, humans argued, shouted, cried. How could they be punished after saving everyone? The Zarth Empire had started the war. Humanity had ended it, but the Council saw it differently. In secret meetings held in the shining halls of Astra Prime, alien leaders spoke with fear in their voices. They said humans had gone too far, that during the final battles, human fleets had used weapons not even the Council had seen before, self-learning AI swarms, dark energy lances, entire cities used as bait to draw the enemy in. To the Council, this was not victory. It was terror. Back on Earth, protests filled every major city. People shouted in the streets, "Why are we being punished? What did we do wrong?" But no answers came. Governments tried to contact the Council, but their messages were ignored. The Galactic Network refused human signals. The trade ports closed. It was as if the whole galaxy had turned its back on the species that saved it. In orbit, the Sol's Wrath drifted silently. Admiral Holt looked down at the blue planet below, his home. He thought of the men and women who had died for peace. And now, peace had become another kind of prison. He turned to his communication officer. "Send this message to all ships," he said quietly. "Stand down. Power off all weapons. We are under Council order." The officer hesitated. "Sir, this can't be real." "It is," Holt said. "And if we resist, they will erase us." He watched as his ship's weapon systems went dark. In the cold reflection of the viewport, he saw his own eyes, tired, hollow. "What have we done?" he whispered. "That made the galaxy fear us this much?" Far away in the Council chambers, 12 alien species gathered. They were the most advanced minds in the galaxy. The Varn, the Keth, the Eldarim, and others older than Earth itself. One of them, a tall insectoid being with silver wings, spoke first. "The humans do not understand balance. They do not fight for order. They fight for survival. And survival knows no law." Another alien, as a creature of light, replied, "If we let them fight again, they will destroy not only their enemies, but the stars themselves." There was silence in the room. Every species had once thought themselves the strongest, but after watching the humans win the impossible war, they realized the truth. Humans were not the most powerful, but the most relentless. They would rather burn a world than surrender it. So the vote passed. The ban was final. No army, no fleet, no war. Weeks later, the message became law. Human generals resigned. Factories closed. Ships were dismantled or locked under alien supervision. The galaxy believed peace had been saved. But peace built on fear is never real. In the quiet of his ship, Admiral Holt recorded one last entry in the captain's log. His voice was calm, but the fire in it had not died. They fear us because we don't quit. They think banning war will stop us from fighting. But they forget one thing. Humanity never needed permission to survive. He looked out at the endless dark, at the stars the Council now controlled. Let them watch, he said. We'll wait. We always wait. And somewhere deep in the void, an old human satellite blinked once, a small, coded signal sent to no one in particular. Just 3 words. We are waiting. Long before the ban, before the silence of Earth's fleets, there was the war that changed everything. It started small, a border conflict. A few colonies lost in the dark, but within months, it became a storm that shook the galaxy. The Zarth Empire had risen again. They were old, proud and cruel, a species of tall, reptilian warriors who believed they were born to rule. They saw humans as a young, loud race, too fast, too curious, and too dangerous. So they decided to crush them before humanity became a real threat. They attacked without warning. One night, 100 human colonies went dark, trade ships vanished, orbital cities burned. The Galactic Council met in fear, but they refused to interfere. They said it is a border war. Let the humans learn. But they didn't understand what they were about to awaken. On Earth, when the news arrived, there was no panic. There was silence, cold, focused silence. Within days, the United Earth Command reactivated the fleets that had been sleeping for years. Old soldiers returned. Engineers worked without rest. Admiral Ryan Holt, then a younger man, was among the first to answer the call. He stood before the massive warship Sol's Wrath as it powered up for the first time in decades. Its engines roared like thunder. Its hull glowed with the light of human defiance. "Sir," said his second officer, "the Council told us to stay out of conflict." Holt replied, "The Council doesn't live on our worlds, we protect our own." And so, the human fleets launched, not for conquest, but for survival. The first battles were brutal. The Zarth had more ships, more technology, more experience. But humans had something else, desperation. They fought like cornered animals, turning every defeat into a lesson, every loss into a weapon. When a human fleet was destroyed, the survivors came back stronger. They studied the enemy, adapted faster than any species had ever seen. Their AIs learned during combat, rewriting tactics in real time. Within months, the Zarth realized they were no longer fighting a simple race of newcomers. They were fighting evolution itself. There was one battle the galaxy would never forget: the siege of Nova Trion, a planet of 10 billion humans, surrounded by the Zarth Armada. The enemy gave them 1 hour to surrender. Instead, the humans sent back a single message: "Come and take it." The Zarth attacked from orbit, raining fire for 12 hours. But when they landed, they found the cities empty. Moments later, the ground itself opened, massive energy charges hidden under the surface. The planet exploded from within, destroying both armies. The shockwave burned through nearby star systems. The Council called it genocide. The humans called it sacrifice. The war dragged on. Every battle grew darker. The humans began building ships no one had ever seen, black steel giants without names, powered by captured Zarth technology and human rage. Some whispered that the new ships were alive, that their AIs had learned something from human emotion. Not logic, not code, but fear. They said the machines fought not to win, but to survive, and that they had learned that from their makers. The turning point came at the Battle of Sol's Gate. A fleet of 50 human ships faced 500 Zarth war cruisers. By the end of the day, none of the human ships remained, but neither did the enemy. Space itself became a graveyard of burning metal. The Council watched in horror. To them, the war was no longer a fight between nations. It had become something else, something primal. They began to fear what humanity might become if left unchecked. If this was how humans fought against extinction, what would happen if they fought for power? Then came the final blow. The humans unleashed a weapon known only as Project Eclipse, an energy pulse that erased all matter within a radius of 1 million kilometers. It didn't just destroy ships, it erased them from existence. The Zarth flagship, Crown of Fire, vanished in a single flash. So did 3 of their planets. When the light faded, The Zarth Empire was gone. The war was over, but the victory felt wrong, too quiet, too final. Across the galaxy, other species began to whisper. If humans could erase worlds, what stopped them from erasing anyone they wanted? The Council sent envoys to Earth, demanding the weapon be destroyed. The humans agreed, but the Council never saw where the weapon was kept, or how many were made. That fear grew like a shadow. Behind closed doors, the Council leaders spoke of what they had witnessed, a species that fought like no other, a species that refused to die. They fight as if death is their friend, one alien said. And if they keep evolving, soon none of us will be safe. The Council's decision was made that night. They would end human warfare forever, before it ended the galaxy itself. Back on Earth, the people cheered their victory, unaware of what was being decided above their skies. Admiral Holt stood in the war room, surrounded by silent officers. He looked at the empty holomap where the Zarth systems had once glowed. "We won," someone said quietly. Holt didn't answer. He stared at the black void and whispered, "No, we survived." And that's what they fear most. When the war ended, the galaxy did not celebrate. The stars were quiet, too quiet. The Zarth Empire was gone, and with it, 1 billion lives. The humans called it peace. The Council called it a warning. For the first time in recorded history, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting with every major species. Present, 12 civilizations, sat in the Great Hall of Astra Prime, a planet-sized station that floated at the center of the galaxy. The walls glowed with soft blue light, but the air inside was heavy. No one spoke for a long time, even the Eldarim. The oldest and wisest of all races looked uneasy. Finally, Chancellor Threx of the Varn stood up. His silver-scaled body shimmered under the light. "The war is over," he said slowly, "but not the danger. The humans have shown us what they truly are." Across the hall murmurs began, clicks, hisses, and digital whispers in a dozen alien languages. Threx continued, "They fought like nothing we've ever seen. They learned faster than any species. They destroyed entire worlds to survive. Tell me, what happens when such a race decides it no longer needs our laws?" The Keth delegate, a creature made of pure light, replied softly, "They are unpredictable. They adapt too quickly. They use emotion as strategy. That is not logical warfare." A heavy voice came from the shadows, the giant stone-skinned Oros leader. "I have fought wars for 5 centuries. I have seen monsters, machines, and gods, but I have never seen soldiers who smile while dying. They fought like death was a friend beside them." The hall went silent again. No one disagreed. The Eldarim, being older than Earth itself, finally spoke. Its voice was calm, almost sad. "They are not evil, but they are something new. Something the galaxy has not seen before, a species that does not fight for power or land or even pride. They fight because they must, because it is in their nature to resist," the Chancellor frowned. "And that is exactly why they must be stopped." He turned to the Council's massive display. Images filled the room, burned planets, shattered fleets, worlds turned to glass, each one marked by a single human emblem, the symbol of the United Earth Command. "They ended the Zarth," Threx said. "But in doing so they showed us a weapon more dangerous than any bomb, the human will." He paused, then added, "And if that will ever turns against us, the galaxy will burn." The Council's debate lasted for days. Some argued that humanity had saved billions of lives and deserved honor. Others believed mercy now would mean extinction. Later, Ambassador Velen of the Seraphs spoke with shaking wings. "If we ban them, they will see it as betrayal. If we do nothing," Threx replied, "so there will be no galaxy left to betray." One by one, the votes were cast. Every species voted yes, only the Eldarim voted no. But the Eldarim's voice was old and weak. It could not change the tide. When the vote ended, the Council passed the decree. Humanity is hereby forbidden from participating in warfare of any kind. Their fleets will be dismantled. Their weapons will be sealed. Their right to wage war revoked forever. The next day, a secret message was sent to Earth. It was written in calm, diplomatic words, but the meaning was clear. Submit, or be erased. Human leaders were stunned. The same council that had ignored their cries for help now stood united against them. But what choice did they have? Their fleets were damaged. Their people were tired. And deep down even they understood, and the galaxy was afraid of them. Still, many couldn't accept it. In a quiet corner of the council hall, a young alien diplomat asked the Eldarim, "Why do they frighten us so much?" The old being closed its many eyes and said, "Because humans are what we all used to be. Once, long ago, before we grew comfortable and safe. They remind us of the hunger we lost, the will to survive at any cost." In the following months, the Council's orders were carried out. Human fleets were locked. Their AI systems were restricted. The great shipyards of Mars went dark. Council drones patrolled human space, watching, recording, ensuring obedience. To the rest of the galaxy, it was peace. To humanity, it was exile. But even among the Council, some felt uneasy. They had banned human war, but they had not destroyed the human spirit, and that, they knew, could never be controlled. One night, Chancellor Threx stood alone in the grand balcony of Astra Prime. Staring into the stars, he spoke quietly to his assistant. "Do you think they will obey?" The assistant, a small machine intelligence, answered softly, "They will obey, Chancellor, but they will never forget." Threx looked down at the blue glow of Earth on the galactic map. "Then it is only a matter of time," he whispered, "because one day, someone will make them fight again. And when that happens, the galaxy will remember why we feared them." Back on Earth, Admiral Holt read the Council's final order. The same man who had led the human fleets to victory now stood powerless before alien law. He looked around at the silent officers in the command room. Some were angry. Some were broken. He was neither. He was only thoughtful. "They think they've stopped us," he said quietly, "but they've only given us a reason to wait." He turned off the lights and looked at the stars. Out there, the galaxy believed humanity was finished, but Holt knew better. "Fear is a strange thing," he whispered. "It makes enemies, but sometimes it also makes legends." Years passed. The war became memory. The ban became law. Humanity lived under quiet skies and peaceful, but watched. Every ship that launched from Earth was scanned. Every communication was monitored. Above the blue planet, Council patrol drones floated like cold guardians, recording everything. To most people, peace felt like safety, but to others, it felt like a cage. Admiral Ryan Holt had retired years ago. He lived in a small cabin on the edge of the old Arctic frontier, where snow met steel. Every night he sat by the frozen sea, staring at the stars, the same stars he once commanded fleets under. He hadn't spoken to the military in years, not since the ban, but one night a ship landed near his cabin. No lights, no insignia. Two figures stepped out, a man and a woman in plain black coats. The woman saluted him quietly. "Admiral Holt, we need your help." Holt frowned. "You're not supposed to be here. The Council forbids all military gatherings." The man smiled faintly. "That's why we're not a military." Inside the cabin, they spoke in whispers. They told Holt what he had feared for years, that the Council wasn't just watching humanity. It was controlling them. Every major technology company was now half-owned by alien corporations. Every planetary defense grid was under Council code. Even Earth's satellites could be disabled with a single command from Astra. Prime humanity was free only in name, but the visitors had something else, a signal. It came from deep space, beyond the rim of known territory, a pattern repeating every 17 hours, a signal too complex for nature, too old for human origin. The woman leaned forward and whispered, "It's not alien. It's human." Holt stared at the screen. The signal's pattern looked like a heartbeat. Slow, steady, waiting. "Where did you find this?" he asked. "Near the remains of Nova Trion," the man replied. "The world that burned itself during the war." Holt's eyes narrowed. That planet had been destroyed completely. No one had survived, but the signal was proof that something, or someone, was still alive. "We think it's an old AI," the woman said. "Maybe from the war. Maybe one of the ones you built." "If it's one of ours," Holt said quietly, "then it remembers everything." Across the galaxy, humanity pretended to live in peace. But beneath the surface, small groups began to appear. Engineers, scientists, veterans, so even students. They didn't fight with weapons. They fought with code. They created secret communication webs hidden inside normal data streams. They reactivated old defense satellites, disguised as weather systems. And they built ships, not warships, but exploration vessels, designed to go where the Council's eyes could not follow. Each group called themselves something different: the Keepers, the Foundry, the Shadows of Sol. But all of them shared one goal: to make sure humanity would never be helpless again. They called their quiet network the Silent Resistance. Meanwhile, on Astra Prime, the Council watched and whispered. Their scanners detected unusual activity in human space: strange power spikes, encrypted signals, missing cargo ships. But every time they tried to trace them, the evidence vanished. Could they be rebuilding? Asked the Seraph delegate. Chancellor Threk shook his head. Impossible. Their weapons are locked. Their fleets are dismantled. The Eldarim's voice echoed softly across the chamber. And yet, Chancellor, their minds are not. Back on Earth, Admiral Holt joined the underground effort. He was older, slower, but his mind was still sharp. He helped coordinate the network, giving it what it lacked most: discipline. He told them one rule: we are not preparing for war. We are preparing for survival. The Silent Resistance grew quietly. They trained colonists in survival tactics under the name of emergency education. They built AI assistants that could transform into defense systems if needed, and they continued to trace the deep space signal, the heartbeat in the dark. Then one night, the signal changed. It grew louder, faster, and then it sent a message: 3 words, "They are coming." The room went silent. The young engineers stared at the screen. "Who's coming?" someone whispered. The AI decoded more fragments: strange data, coordinates, cosmic radiation patterns. It wasn't the Council. It wasn't the Zarth. They were gone. It was something older, something massive, moving toward the galactic rim. Admiral Holt stood and stared at the stars outside. "So this is why they banned us," he murmured. "They knew something was coming, and they didn't trust us to face it." On Astra Prime, alarms began to echo across the Council. Chambers' deep space sensors detected an anomaly, a wave of unknown energy, consuming stars at the edge of the void. The Council panicked. Worlds began to vanish, and somewhere in the dark, the old signal pulsed again, faster, brighter. Human scientists picked it up across multiple colonies. It was no longer just a heartbeat. Now, it was a voice. "Wake up!" Admiral Holt watched the message repeat again and again. He looked at his small team: engineers, hackers, dreamers, none of them soldiers. Yet in that moment he saw something familiar in their eyes, the same fire from the old war. "The Council took our weapons," he said quietly, "but not our will." Outside, the stars flickered as the great anomaly grew closer. The Silent Resistance sent out their first true signal, one that reached every hidden ship, every secret outpost, every human colony still under watch. It carried one message only: humanity does not surrender. The galaxy trembled. Stars at the edge of the void vanished one by one, consumed by a wave of energy no one had ever seen. The Council panicked. Their fleets were powerless, their weapons useless. The Zarth were gone. The old wars were over, but now a threat older and more deadly than any empire had returned, and the Council had no one to turn to. On Earth, Admiral Ryan Holt watched the anomaly grow on the sensors. Years of quiet had taught him patience, but patience alone would not save the galaxy this time. He turned to his team, the Silent Resistance, grown into a network of thousands across the colonies. "This is why we prepared," he said quietly. "Not to fight each other, not to prove anything to the Council, but to face this." The team nodded. Their fear was real, but so was their resolve. For decades, humans had been forbidden to fight. Their fleets were dismantled, their weapons sealed. Yet here they were, awakening old ships and hidden fleets. Metal giants built in secret rose from hidden bays across the galaxy. Engines hummed. Weapons powered up. Human determination flowed through every system. No one else in the galaxy understood what was happening. The Council sent messages: "Cease this immediately. Humanity is forbidden from war." Holt replied with a calm smile. "War is one thing. Survival is another." The anomaly approached, a wave of destruction that consumed everything in its path. One by one, Council fleets fell before it. Whole star systems were erased. Holt's fleet entered the fray, human ships moving with precision and speed. that no alien had ever seen, the silent. Resistance unleashed AI systems that adapted instantly. Weapons fired in patterns that the galaxy had never imagined. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched, but they had something the Council and the stars had forgotten: a courage. The first strike reached the edge of the anomaly. Energy. Beams that devoured stars collided with human defenses. Ships burned. Colonies shook, and yet human pilots pressed on. They didn't fight for glory. They fought for life itself, for the survival of every species the Council had once claimed to protect. Admiral Holt piloted his flagship, the Soul's Wrath, straight into the heart of the storm. His voice echoed across the fleet: "Hold steady. Follow the signal. Trust the resistance. Humanity never surrenders." Inside the anomaly, they discovered its source, a massive entity of pure energy, older than any civilization, hungry and destructive. The humans didn't hesitate. They attacked with intelligence, strategy, and courage. AI systems coordinated instantly. Hidden weapons emerged. Old warships, long dormant, fired synchronized volleys. For every strike the anomaly threw, humanity countered. For every star it consumed, humans saved 3. It was not just a battle, it was a lesson. The galaxy had feared humans in war. Now they witnessed why. Hours passed. Days blurred. Entire fleets fell. And then, at the heart of the storm, the humans unleashed the final weapon. Not one of destruction, but creation. Project Eclipse, once feared, had been repurposed. Instead of destroying, it stabilized. It contained the energy, channeled it back into the void. The anomaly shrieked in light. Then, silence. The stars returned. The void calmed. Every Council fleet that survived looked on in awe, and every alien being realized the truth. Humanity was not a threat to the galaxy. They were its shield. On Astra Prime, the Council convened in shock. Chancellor Threx addressed the room, his voice trembling. "They defied our ban, and they saved us all." The Eldarim, who had once voted against banning humanity, spoke softly. "They are what we feared, and what we needed. The galaxy would have perished if not for them." No one argued. No one doubted. Back on Earth, Admiral Holt recorded a message for the history books. "The galaxy tried to stop us from fighting. They believed our strength was too dangerous. But today, the galaxy remembers why humans were never meant to be ordinary. We do not fight for power. We fight for life. And when the stars burn, humanity will always walk through the fire." He looked out at the stars, bright, alive and free. For the first time in decades, humanity was no longer banned. But Holt knew that peace was only temporary. The galaxy would always have threats, and humanity would always rise, because humans did not fight like others. They survived like none other. And the legend of the species that even the galaxy feared had returned.